Oh man, don't lay a bum trip on me, man. I'm just grooving to the sound.
I buy gum so I can chew it. I buy gum so I can chew it.
Oh, this is cow. Oh, this is cow. Oh, this is cow. No one will ever hear this tape. We won't get out.
Oh, hi folks. It's just me. It's just Brad. God, it's too hot to wear this stuff in here. Over on the internet, there's a website or thing, podcast, something called Buddhist Geeks. But now Buddhist Geeks has gone completely off the deep end, and they have a thing called Meditation on Psychedelics. You know, I've already talked about drugs and meditation on this vlog or vlog or whatever, and I'll put the links down there if you want to watch it. There's a link to articles about it if you want to read those, so you can read all about it. When I saw the tweet about that, I tweeted back something like, you should remove the word Buddhist from your names, maybe Clueless Geeks. And you know, drug abusers and drug pushers are really sensitive, so I got a tweet in response, and it says, I knew @Brad Warner was pretty much fake awakened after reading about his bridge experience. This tweet absolutely confirms it. I tweeted back, that's funny, and he tweeted, a lack of clarity about awakening isn't, especially in those who are banking upon being seen that way. The usual pathetic bullshit stuff that you get from people whose brains have been fried. Just to establish my bona fides, as it were, the music that you heard at the opening of this with me in the funny hat, that was me. And that actually includes a sound bite of me on LSD going, oh, this is cosmic. Oh, this is cosmic. And a guy I knew named Donald Neeson going, no one will ever hear this tape because we'll never get out of here alive. So go back and listen to it. We are all actually on a heavy dose of LSD. Actually, Donald was on an even heavier dose, and that's the actual tape of it. So I have had a little bit of experience in this stuff. And this is one of my psychedelic albums as Dementia 13. You could still buy them on eBay sometimes. And here's Echoes in Time, a psychedelic music book where, there we go, Dementia 13's in that one too. A nice write-up. Brad Warner is essentially Dementia 13. He assembled blah, blah, blah. So there you go. I've done a few drugs in my time. But I don't want to get into the question of whether drugs are the right way to meditate or not. Because, you know, it's a free country, as they say. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to meditate on drugs, nothing I can do to stop you from being stupid. The thing I want to address in this episode is, can you meditate on drugs and still call yourself a Buddhist? That's where I'm objecting to right now when I said you better take the word Buddhism out of your name. Because if you're Buddhist geeks, then meditating on psychedelics is not part of the program. Now, Vince Horn, the idiot who runs Buddhist Geeks, is fond of telling people that folks who have my opinion of drugs and meditation are Puritans. Because that's a nice dirty word to tar everybody with, the Puritans. So let's talk about the Buddhist precepts. Here's a nice little thing I found at the Austin Zen Center when I was there last week. Somebody has put together a study about evolution of the precepts. Study material for the 2008 National Conference of the Soto Zen Buddhist Association. Kind of one of these conferences I never go to, but you know. So let's look at precept number 5, the 5th grave precept. Now this precept is one of the original ones that goes all the way back. You know, we can't trace a form of Buddhism in which this precept did not exist. So this is really foundational stuff. This isn't like something that was added later. And in Japanese or Chinese characters, it's written like that. I hope you can see that, which is pronounced Fukoshukai. There are several different translations. This book helpfully gives a bunch of them. So I'm going to read them all off to you. It's a nice long list to give you an idea. Do not deal in alcoholic beverages. That's Bernard Folk. Not to sell liquor is the Gudo Nishijima translation, my teacher. Another translation by Boundless Way Zen goes, cultivating a mind that sees clearly, I vow to take up the way of not giving or taking drugs. There is no trafficking in delusion. That's somebody named Wanderling. Not to use intoxicating drinks or narcotics, nor assist others to do so. That's by Sherry Huber. Let's see another one. Do not cloud the mind. A follower of the way does not intoxicate self or others, but rather cultivates and encourages clarity. I vow not to misuse drugs or alcohol, but to keep the mind clear. No selling the wine of delusion, that's Cobencino. Not to cause others to use liquors or drugs that confuse or weaken the mind, and do not do so oneself. A follower of the way does not intoxicate oneself or others, that's Dining Katagiri's translation. And here's the note. The fifth precept literally just prohibits selling intoxicants, but the second minor precept of the Brahmajala Sutra prohibits using intoxicants. A disciple of the Buddha should not intentionally consume alcoholic beverages as they are the source of countless offenses. But if he offers a glass of wine to another person, his retribution will be to have no hands for 500 lifetimes. How could he then consume liquor himself? Indeed, a bodhisattva should not encourage any person or any other sentient being to consume alcohol, much less take any alcoholic beverages himself. A disciple should not drink any alcoholic beverages whatsoever. And of course, alcoholic beverages is a stand-in for all sorts of intoxicants. Don't pretend that the people in India in ancient times, of all people, didn't know about magic mushrooms and marijuana and everything else. They knew. That also includes those in the same category. A lot of people try to get around this one by saying, well, the precept prohibits dumb drugs, but not smart drugs like what we use, No, bullshit. Bullshit. A lot of people see the precept of not selling liquor as a kind of softening of the original precept of not drinking liquor, because they say that people in China, in the monasteries that were cold, would have to drink alcohol to keep warm, and they just made it no selling of liquor. I don't think that's the reason. I think it's because they understood that selling liquor or intoxicants of any kind is actually a worse offense than using them yourself. And the precept that I just read, the original version of the precept, which you just heard a minute ago, does say that. And this is why I take issue with people like Vince Horn and Buddhist geeks. It's not that you're just doing the drugs yourself, but you're creating a forum that openly encourages other people to do so. Some people on Twitter were getting upset at me for right speech, and I said, yeah, right speech also includes not encouraging other people to do drugs. I mean, if there's anything that's obviously included in right speech that you don't even have to think about for a second to figure out, it's don't encourage other people to do drugs. It's incredibly important not to encourage others to do this stuff, because you don't know who you're talking to. When you come up in a platform like this, like YouTube or like Buddhist Geeks or like anything that's going out to the general public, you don't know who's listening to that. You don't know if it's somebody who's got a problem with addiction. You don't know if it's somebody who's 12 years old and just curious about this stuff and wants encouragement to do this. You don't know who you're talking to. So it's important to be responsible. Now, whatever, you want to talk about your drug use, fine. I can't do anything about that. But if you're going to talk about your drug abuse and call it Buddhism, I'm going to tell people that you're a fucking asshole. So, that's what you get. Probably doesn't really matter because nobody listens to me anyway, but there you go. So thanks for listening. If you like what you hear and you want to donate to my drug habit, no drug habit actually, you can donate via PayPal and Patreon, and the links are below. There's links below to my blog and to other things I've written. Enjoy that, and see you next time.
Psychedelic mushroom cloud explosion.